is set to begin in the Senate on the president's nearly $2 trillion COVID relief package. And a last-minute deal could now mean that fewer Americans will be receiving the next round of stimulus checks. NBC's chief White House correspondent Kristen Welker joins us now. And Kristen, a lot of people are wondering who will get it, who won't get it. What do you know?
That's the big question, Hoda. Good morning. President Biden struck a deal with moderate Democrats to change who gets those direct payments, meaning
more than 70 House Democrats are signing on a letter to passing it to President Democratic leaders to not include a side deal with Joe Manchin on reforming the permit process for energy projects in a bill funding the government. The permitting reform language was offered to Manchin to win his votes on the massive climate tax and healthcare bill, known as the Inflation Reduction Act. Manchin provided the critical support to get that bill through the evenly divided Senate after winning concessions from Democratic leaders. But in the new letter, Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer are asking him not to include the permitting reforms championed by Manchin into a stopgap funding bill that measures that Congress is expected to take up this month. Without a stopgap funding measure, lawmakers are ready for the government shutdown on October 1st. The opposition from Democrats is a significant problem. If the group follows through in the letter, Democrats might not have the votes to pass a government funding bill. When they announced the agreement on the major climate tax and healthcare bill, Chuck Schumer and Manchin said they had reached a deal to pass permitting reform by October to secure Manchin's vote. A new deadline has been announced. The deadline marks the last day that eligible Americans can claim up to $1,000 in direct stimulus cash. Many lawmakers are debating on whether or some provisions should be cut from the Inflation Reduction Act. Maryland residents, everybody, who are seeking to file a claim for up to $1,000 in student loan debt relief have just 5 days left to submit their paperwork. The deadline to submit an application is September 15th, after which the state will close the portal. The tax credit is intended to help eligible residents who took out student loans to pay for their college tuition, and tax credits will be available even if the applicant didn't graduate. To become eligible, residents must have claimed Maryland residency on their 2022 tax filings and have incurred at least $20,000 in student loans from either an undergraduate or a graduate program with at least $5,000 in outstanding debt at the time of the application. Maryland residents who did not attend a state school may still be eligible for relief, but they may not receive as large as a tax credit. Those who receive relief may be asked to prove that they used the full amount of the tax credit to go toward their student loan payments. Otherwise, they may be asked to repay the credit. Alaska residents will also begin to receive $3,200 checks in just 11 days. The $3,200 payments for eligible people were included as a provision in the annual budget. The state annual budget was approved by the legislature early this year. The checks will begin to be appearing in the bank accounts of eligible residents on September 20th, with all payments being delivered by the end of the year. Bernie Sanders has also said that he would oppose a short-term investment in the government funding bill if the Democratic leaders attach legislation meant to ease construction of crude oil, pipelines, and other energy infrastructure. Sanders wrote in a Twitter post, "I will not vote for any bill that makes it easier for big oil industries to destroy the planet, and that includes approving the Mountain Valley Pipeline. The continuing resolution is a bill designed to keep the government funded for weeks."
Thank you very much for taking on this issue. And this is something that I appreciated, Senator Tillis, Senator Cornyn, your support for a number of these immigration measures, including the Conrad 30 bill that Senator Collins and I introduced. We now have 26 bipartisan co-sponsors, including Senator Ernst, Senator Rosen on this committee, the two of you, as well as Senators Durbin and Coons and Blumenthal, and I thank our witnesses. I really I don't think our economy can stand it if we don't move. My state has the lowest, as Ms. Peterson well knows, lowest unemployment rate in the country. We don't have enough workers all the way down the line, and some combination, and I've been here, your point, Senator Cornyn, when we have been able to pass an immigration bill that would have fixed a lot of this. We got it through the Senate, bipartisan support, comprehensive immigration bill, and then unfortunately it did not pass in the House. I've seen a bill pass in the House and not here, and I'm hoping that third time is a charm, and we simply cannot wait. As pointed out by Senator Durbin, national shortage of as many as 124,000 physicians. In Minneapolis, there's one doctor for every 304 people, and you know, we're the land of 10,000 lakes as well as 10,000 medical clinics, as you know. With Mayo, so many University of Minnesota that we're so proud of, but in rural northwestern Minnesota, there's only one doctor for every 686 people. That is why I took on Ken Conrad's bill many, many years ago, to be able to allow for more doctors that are studying at great medical clinics, medical schools throughout the country to be able to stay for their residency and the like. And I would like to expand that. The legislation reauthorizes and expands the Conrad 30 program that has brought more than 15,000 doctors to underserved areas, rural and urban, in the last 15 years. Ms. Peterson, by the way, thank you for graduating with degrees from the University of Minnesota, working, I understand, at the law school. Where were you born in Minnesota?
Wisconsin, but lived in Minnesota my entire life.
The Vikings and Packers game?
I did.
Okay, great. Well, you can imagine I was happy with the outcome. All right, my mom came from Wisconsin, so all is good. So could you talk about how, in your experience, what role do immigrant doctors who've been trained in the U.S. Play in providing essential medical care to rural and underserved communities?
Yeah, thank you, Senator Klobuchar. I mean, I think a statistic that's really telling is that 28% of these international doctors who go into underserved areas stay there well past their 5 years, as compared to 11% of U.S. doctors. And I think that's telling because we need to expand our programs to continue to reward and recognize international doctors who are going into these communities. Like Dr. Allure, they're building lives. They are staying there long term. A doctor who came to my small town has been there for over 20 years. He's built his life there. And so we have a shortage. It's documented, and we have the vehicle to immediately address it, which is your bill, Senator Klobuchar.
Okay, can you talk about why reauthorizing the program would be, in your words, a win-win?
It gives states the ability to control the doctors that they can place. It also encourages and rewards physicians like Dr. Allure to work in underserved areas by helping them get over the H-1B numerical cap, which this year alone we had over 480,000 people apply for 85,000 numbers. So it also rewards physicians on the green card side of things for going into underserved communities. And these are three very critical components to ensuring that Americans are getting the access to healthcare they need.
I note that recently the United Kingdom introduced a healthcare visa program that fast-tracks visas for healthcare workers, not just doctors. And Canada, which is very close to our borders, also offers an expedited pathway to permanent residency for doctors. I note that in Great Britain they have a conservative prime minister. They had one with Boris Johnson. They have one with Liz Truss. Yet they're moving ahead on this. Could you talk about why this is a problem for the U.S., if you want to chime in, Doctor? If we lose, not just we don't keep people here, we're losing